Hi, and welcome to 108 Healing Senses podcast. My name is Jennifer Taylor, and I'm so happy to introduce to you Jake Ray, wonderful guy that I met through FLP, through Anjash's course. So I wanted to speak with you today, one, because we both studied and had a actually kind of a similar path, but could you tell the audience more about yourself and about your soul path? Um, and what is it that you'd like to share today, and how can we flow?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Jennifer. So glad to be here. So excited to be in conversation with you. I think we're going to have a great one today. I'll start with, I guess, kind of my journey and a little bit of my path to where I'm at now, because my journey is certainly far from over. There's lots more to uncover, but I would say that my first real well, I guess I'll start kind of further back with kind of my upbringing, which was a pretty traditional Christian upbringing. And so religion and spirituality were definitely a part of my upbringing and my childhood and my young adulthood into my college years. And it really resonated for a long time, but there got to that point where it just wasn't resonating in the same ways, and my thoughts and my beliefs were shifting, and I was experiencing things in my own life as well as seeing things in other people's lives that were kind of poking holes in things. And really, like the biggest catalyst was my sexuality and being gay, and how that kind of jolted me out of the church and kind of the organization that I was in. And so from kind of leaving the church behind, I kind of ricocheted off into more of an atheist perspective on the world and on the cosmos. And that was fine for a while, and I lived a very physical, worldly life. And yet it got to this point where I realized that I was pretty depressed and pretty hopeless, and it's kind of at a point of like, what's the point of this all? What am I doing here? What are we doing here? What's going on? And slowly it was like I started to get little pieces of the puzzle, and YouTube honestly has been a huge awakening tool, as I know it has been for many folks, because it's allowed us to find information that is not necessarily presented in mainstream forms. And so uh, through kind of my exploration through metaphysical topics and spirituality and tarot and astrology and all of that, it started to kind of chip away at my beliefs and kind of start to formulate a new structure. And my husband now, he was my boyfriend at the time, he's an astrologer, and so astrology had been a big part of our lives for a moment. But it really wasn't until I found hypnosis that it all just kind of clicked. It started to fall into line. And of course, it's been a journey since, and things have evolved and changed. But when I first found hypnosis, it was actually through a book that one of my coworkers, it was actually my old boss at my corporate job, who recommended this book. And I was like, hypnosis, what's that? Past lives? I don't know about that. And I started to read, just, okay, well, he gave this to me. We'll see what it is.
Mm.
And the information just struck a chord in me. And there was just something about the way that it came through, the topics that were covered. I mean, it was all around Atlantis and our past lives in Atlantis. And it just struck such a chord. And I kind of fell down the rabbit hole from there. I read another one of her books, and that led me to Dolores Cannon, who is the founder and creator of QHHT, the quantum healing hypnosis technique. I'm sure many folks know and are familiar with her name and her technique here. But once I found her and found her technique, I was just so interested. It's so excited. I was like, this is wild. I can learn this. How cool. And so I ended up diving in and taking the course and learning about the technique and how it works before I actually had a session of my own, which maybe was a little bit backwards. But there came a point then where I was like, okay, I need to have a session of my own. I need to experience this before I start trying to do this on other people.
Yeah.
And so then I had my first session, which was truly such a profound experience. And I know you've had a QHHT session, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too. But
Mm.
it was just such a unique experience, personally, spiritually, emotionally. I did not expect the experience that it was, which I hear a lot from clients these days of, wow, that wasn't what I expected, or wow, that was more than I expected, or different than I expected. There's a lot of different ways people take it, but ultimately, I had my first session and had such a profound connection to my higher self, to that knowledge that was within me, and really it helped me to not only like solidify that connection with my higher self, which I've continued to utilize day in and day out. Like I could not have done so much that I've done without my higher self, which kind of makes sense, right? I mean, we're all working from that angle, but more in that conscious sense of like relying on them, asking them questions, getting that support from them. And so from there, it kind of just snowballed, and I started to practice and have clients. And I mean, there were so many different experiences throughout my practice sessions as I worked towards my certification that really took my beliefs to a next level, took my understanding of the cosmos to the next level. And at some point during that journey, I started to dip my toes into FLP because I was reading other hypnosis books, other past life regression books, and Anne was mentioned in one of them. So then I found Anne's book, and I had some spontaneous future visits during QHHT sessions. And so I was really interested in that angle and kind of taking people there specifically to go there. And so took the course with Anne and learned a lot from her. And from there, I mean, I guess that's kind of a general overview of how I've gotten to here in this point. I mean, I've been practicing FLP for a moment as well, and I've kind of branched off and started to kind of combine the different techniques that I use in my own sort of conglomeration, offering that to folks as well. And so really, I think hypnosis has been such a huge driving force in my journey in spirituality and helping me to understand the cosmos and the universe. And I think we each have our own niches and our own ways that we connect and that we can find this information. But for me, it was hypnosis and the honor of being able to help other people that way and to guide people through these experiences. As I know it's next level. I mean, it's such an honor, and I'm so grateful for this lifetime and being able to do this and to help people in this way, because it really is such powerful work. And I think we're at such a pivotal time in our history. I mean, everyone's saying it, we're all talking about it, we all feel it. And I think the work that we're doing as hypnotists, as guides, is definitely helping folks in pretty profound ways. So I guess I'll pause there because that was a bit, to give you a chance to jump in. I don't know if you want to share about your QHHT experience as well, but or if you had a follow-up.
I'll touch on how profound it is to do more subconscious work and being able to access your timeline through your subconscious, because from a higher point, like quantum physics, there is no time. Everything is happening, past, present, future, all at the same time. But in this human experience, it feels very linear. But doing this kind of hypnosis work, or the deep subconscious work that allows you to access your past, access your future, it is so profound. And it is the most profound work that I have experienced, with deep, meaningful, and long-lasting effects as well. You can do a lot of conscious work, but it's really useful to kind of get through the layers that may have been solidified from programming or being conditioned from family, society, culture, just where you live. All of these things, it does help you kind of clear away the things that aren't yours and be able to access the things that are you have experienced, or what you could experience, and being able to tap into the things that are good, clear and transmute away the things that no longer serve you and you don't need to keep repeating in this lifetime. And connecting and learning more about yourself from a soul level and tapping into your inner skills, your inner strength, your inner peace, your just everything. I love it. And it has taken years of dedicated work and it does always continue because there's always more layers to reveal. And this kind of work really helps with it. Future life regression, QHHT, whatever kind of soul coaching, soul healing that we do in whatever forms that we do it. Such profound effects. And so I did experience QHHT at the very, very, very beginning of my spiritual awakening journey, when I had a major breakup. It's going through a major breakdown. And through that, I was looking online. I started to ask more questions to myself about spirituality. And Dolores Cannon, there was a blog that Dolores Cannon had about, I think it was Twin Earth. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is over 10 years ago now, maybe close to 15. Very, very like, oh, okay, I need to hear this right now. And I just had this kind of feeling of, I need to have one of these sessions. I just had this inner whisper that was really profound and loud enough that said, find someone local and have a QHHT session. So I did that, and I accessed 3 past lives, and I was able to draw upon the strength and the wisdom. And there was a lot of peace, actually, I had from that experience, including being able to have the experience of me going to a past life with QHHT, then coming to the point where I had passed, so I was no longer in a physical body in that incarnation time, and the experience of witnessing my family at the time around my funeral, where it was it was fire. It was just a few hundred years ago now. And it was very profound. And I remember I was even crying, and it was like, I love my family. I'm sad to be leaving them. And then after that, I had this most profound experience that has touched me, and it has not left me. And it was me, my spirit, my soul essence, returning back to source. And it was like this candy floss, pink, orange, yellow, golden sunset. It's not even a color that is something that is here on earth. Like, the color doesn't exist. It was like there's so much of that, and I just had this profound peace and bliss. And at that point, I was like, I'm not afraid of dying. I know there's more to life than just this incarnation. And that was such a profound thing with me. And I know I can always connect to that feeling of that bliss, that peace, because that's the original source frequency. And it's always stuck with me, always. And it's still to this day. And it is an honor to be able to guide others to receive that deep inner healing from their higher selves, from wherever they need to be in their timeline. So yeah, very, very profound work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I can just add on to that, I've had a few clients go to similar either like homes away from home, like their galactic home that's a non-physical realm, or to source, or to these similar like non-physical places where there's colors, there's lights, there's more than anything that emotion and that peace, that calm. And it really is such a profound experience. And I've seen many clients who've come out of that. And I mean, even being able to see them in state, within the session, experiencing that. I mean, the look on their face, the emotions that are coming through. I mean, it's just beautiful. It really is. And that's not, I wouldn't say that that's normally why people come to a session, but when they experience it, it's such a profound moment, and always something that they needed. And it's usually folks who are feeling homesick or feeling lonely or feeling, that they're having a tough time here on Earth, right? So yeah, beautiful, beautiful experiences. And one of the, I guess, more nuanced ways that this work can help you, because a lot of people can come for a lot of different things, and sometimes you get more than you came for, or you get surprised by what comes up for you, which is always cool.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think sometimes you can either go with preconceived thoughts of, oh, it's going to be like this. and you honestly never know what's going to happen. You always set the intention that it's going to be for your greatest and highest good, but it's always really interesting because every session is completely different.
Oh, I 100% agree. And that's that's where sometimes it's hard to talk to potential clients because it's sometimes hard to put into words what your experience will be. And,
Mm.
I usually try to say something along the lines of like, well, these are some experiences that people have, or these are some common things that people experience. But hypnosis is such an individual experience that you're going to go through this in a different way than other people, and you're going to experience it in a different way than other people. And I think that's a really big part of the work that we do, is helping prepare folks for the experience so that they can get the most out of it and feel confident and comfortable going into it. But also, I think just setting that stage of like, this is your journey, and your journey is going to be for you, and it's going to be what's best for you. And that intention piece, I think, is really important on both the practitioner and the client side.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, it's just setting intentions for life, even at the
Right.
beginning of the day. I'm going to be like, today is going to be the best day ever. Because you also have to factor in life, and life will have peaks and troughs, and finding the balance. But yeah, doing this kind of work is very good for pattern breaking as well. Or if you're going through a really tough time, it really helped me actually. And doing FLP and the future life progression work is very profound in that kind of next stage of, sometimes you do need to resolve the past in order to be like, okay, I feel good now. Now I'm ready to start looking at my future. Like, where's the best road for me to go down? Where should I be focusing on? What should I be focusing on? And it's wonderful. And if more people thought more future vision focused, the world would certainly be more optimistic and creative and more full of solutions rather than regurgitating problems and challenges. That's so not necessary these days, but we have to go through
Absolutely.
it.
Well, and easier said than done.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge the human state that we're in. We're here. We're incarnated. We are humans, and we have the emotions and the challenges and the lessons and the experiences that are meant to help us grow. But it's not always through sunshine and rainbows. Like,
No.
life is about the experience. Life is about oftentimes the challenging parts,
Yeah.
even more so than the positive parts. But I just love the way that you put that about kind of the past and future perspective, because I definitely have found this with clients where and recently I've had a lot of people coming for past more than future. And I just think that there is such an important that step is really important, of like dealing with your past, whether it be conscious past or unconscious past, because sometimes people say, oh well, my childhood was great, my life has been fine and good, but then you might have some stuff that's hanging on from past lives,
Yeah.
or maybe you're not aware of past lives, but you've got stuff from childhood that you haven't resolved. And
Mm.
I really think that shedding that, clearing that, integrating it, because it's not about just like abandoning it and letting it go. It's about how do you process and integrate it.
Mm.
And through the understanding and through the experience of the past life regression, or if we're talking with your higher self, getting that deeper insight and guidance for whatever it is that came up for you, really does set you up for not only feeling, like you said, better in your present, better in your current life, but kind of clears the slate for the future, and allows you to tap into what's going to be best for you. Because
Mm.
I mean, I've had clients come in and they're like, well, I want to see the future, but like I'm so depressed, or I'm so hopeless right now. And that's not always the best place to tap into the future from, because your resonance, your frequency is going to determine where you can tap into and what timelines you're going to get. And
It's true.
obviously you want to get the best ones, and you want to get those that are going to be for your best and highest good. And the better place that you can come from, the better you're going to tap into. And there's so many different ways we can do that, whether it be taking you far into the future and getting you into a future lifetime where you can
Yeah,
see
different
that soul
insight.
growth,
Yeah.
or taking you to the past so that we can let some of that go and kind of unshackle you a little bit. And so there's
Mm.
value in all of it. And I feel like like we're saying, it's such an individual thing, and where you're at on that journey is going to determine what's going to be best for you. But I mean, I'm of the firm mind that hypnosis can help everyone. Whether or not they want that help, that's up to them.
It's definitely a choice. Yes, it is, and it is a choice. But it's a very powerful and profound choice, and one that can really shift the trajectory of your life. Like, for those listening, if you're feeling stuck, you keep repeating the same challenges and the same relationships keep popping up. There's a pattern, there's a program, there's a trauma that requires your love, your care, and your attention, however that may be, in whatever form that you want to process it with, to help break, complete that lesson, complete that frequency. And so, and it, in order of whatever methods you want to use to address it, and using FLP or QHHT or other hypnosis, whatever the whatever the mode of operandi, I think I'm saying that correctly, it will be able to get into your subconscious and be able to draw out the things that don't need to be running the show anymore. But that was very profound for me, very, very profound for me in my own personal healing journey. And that's why I do it, and that's why you do it as well, because it has shifted so much in our life that you just stop living with the same shackles on you. Like, we don't need to. And this is a pivotal lifetime. Everyone has the opportunity to address the fears, the challenges, and find a way to overcome them and release them and stop being bound by them. So exciting times.
It is.
Yeah. You were mentioning earlier about more of a galactic and off world with some of your clients. Would you like to share any stories?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, it's sometimes hard to know where to start because it's there's already so much variety in like earthbound lives and the past lives that can come up, the different experiences, the different beings and people that can be here. I mean, even if we're looking at like beyond just the physical earth, we have other beings that are here earthbound that are with us, supporting us or living within this realm. And so once you get beyond the boundaries, I mean, it's even more wild and even more expansive and even more variety, I guess, in the lives that can come through. And I think that that's one of my favorite things about delving into more of the galactic lives or off-world lives or ET lives is really the ways that these alien beings, these alien lives, these lives on different planets that are so different from ours, they relate back to our lives and the problems that they're going through or the challenges that they're going through or hurts that they had, whatever it is, like there's a connection, there's a tie to your current lifetime. And that's some of the coolest moments is understanding like how that ties in. One of my first experiences with ET lives and off-world lives was it was while I was doing QHHT sessions, and I had read a little bit about this, but it was certainly not something that I was super comfortable with, or I was just kind of dipping my toes into it. And I had a client who came who went to an alien lifetime, and they were describing their body, and they were like this kind of like bulbous, round, red-skinned alien being that didn't have any hair. And like, I mean, the way that they were describing it was very not human, slightly humanoid shaped, but very different proportions and different body structure. And the lifetime that they were in, they were a part of, essentially, it seemed kind of like a police squad or like enforcement, where they were going on to other planets to take their resources. And part of what my client's lifetime was about was the like going on to those planets to make sure that the people were gone so that then they could extract the resources. And these beings were very warlike, very aggressive. It was very much a power over kind of structure in society, and the we went to a couple different lifetime or a couple different scenes in that life, and there was just this feeling of disconnect from their community. There was this feeling of like, this is my job, this is my duty, like I have to do this, but like my heart's not really in it. And we ended up getting to the end of their life, and they had their life cut short by someone else who killed them because of their difference in belief and their lack of warlike mentality. And it was fascinating to then get the insight from their higher self of why this came up and why this was being shown. And it was very much around, as you can imagine, that idea of fitting in and that idea of standing out from the crowd and that threat that can pose to you. And so for my client, it was very much about not taking that fear into this lifetime, not letting that affect how you're standing up and speaking your truth in this lifetime. And beyond that, there was also a lot around that, the soul's personality and how it wasn't a warlike soul. It wasn't aggressive. It was that loving, very nurturing soul. And so that lifetime was tough for them because of the different culture. And so it was just really beautiful how that can tie into your very normal human lifetime, and you can understand those connections. And I mean, that's just one example. I could certainly share more, but it really is, I think, especially when we're going beyond Earth, like it's very much about tying it back to your current lifetime. And I say this often, the past, the future, off-world, it's so fascinating, it's cool, but how does that help you? How does that affect your life here and now? Because as Dolores Cannon says, this lifetime is the most important lifetime of all because it's the one you're living right now. And I think that that's something that I very much try to do with my clients, and in the questions that I ask and the way that I facilitate the sessions is really focusing on that tie back to the current life and helping elucidate that and really fill in the gaps so that you're getting the most out of whatever experience you're shown, because it might be really cool to see an alien lifetime, but again, how does it tie back? So,
and you're so correct on the journey that you've also experienced with these off-world lifetimes. Is the fears that we may have in this lifetime also correspond to other lifetimes that we have had off this world. So if you have a fear of spiders, that's, there is a race of galactic spiders, and there was a war, a great spider war. I mean, it sounds ludicrous, but it's in people's psyches, and there's a reason why some people are still ferociously scared of spiders. And it's this deep subconscious programming in them, which is there's a threat, there's a fear, and it doesn't matter what incarnation you are coming into. If you're unable to process, if you're unable to transmute these fears, these traumas, they will continue with you lifetime after lifetime until you acknowledge the fact that you have a fear or a trigger, or there's something that keeps repeating in your lifetime, until you're able to make a choice, face it, and then find peace with it. It will keep following you lifetime after lifetime. Another big thing why I'm like, soul healing and soul integration is such a big part of what I do and what I want to help others with as well. Because when you integrate your soul into a complete form, you're no longer scattered throughout time and space. You have more of you in you now, and that means you're able to fulfill more of what you could be doing, more of your absolute optimum soul path, your destiny, your mission, however that looks. So yeah, really important. But yeah, what other stories have you got? I love that. What other
yeah, well, I mean, what you just said sparked in me, reminded me of a very recent session that I did. And if y'all are interested, go check out my YouTube channel because I posted the full session, so you can listen to the full audio and video of that session recording. But this idea of soul integration and sort of reconstructing our oversoul, this came up in a session recently, and it was we went in with the intention of going to the galactic side of things, and both of us, me and the client, were very interested in ETs and off-world stuff and what's going on our planet with ETs and all of this stuff. So we had a long list of questions, and one of the topics that came up was this idea of the higher self and kind of the structure of things. And the higher self was kind of confirming and expounding upon the idea that we are fractals of our higher self, and that, it goes up and up and up and up, and that it was too much to go into all today. But what I'll say is that I really loved the analogy that they were describing our oversoul as kind of like this big diamond, and that we're kind of taking different little diamonds and we're fitting them back into the facets of this larger diamond, and that the work that we're doing through hypnosis or on your own, if you're doing meditation work, or there's certainly ways that you can do this without a practitioner too. But if you're doing that soul work of soul like collection and integration, that you're essentially putting these fractals, putting these diamonds back into place, and that the more that you can reconstruct that again, like you were saying, it's drawing your power back to you. It's taking that scattered energy that's throughout time and space and consolidating it. And they one of the most interesting parts of their discourse on this was they were really clear in like, this is about bringing our higher selves energy here, bringing the higher self energy back into our being here, not about us leaving and kind of abandoning ship. And they were really clear that like that would be not good, and that would be catastrophic for the Matrix. It would be catastrophic for us. And the Matrix gets a lot of bad rap, and people talk about it in very negative ways, which there are certainly negative aspects to it, but the Matrix is not just the structure of like mainstream society. The Matrix is like the matrix of our reality. And I think that they were talking about it more in that sense of like, hey, you can't just like abandon ship because that'll collapse things, that'll implode on itself. It's really about that integration to then bring it here so that that energy can be used by us, by our higher selves, for this pivotal point, for this pivotal moment. And so it was really cool. I have other bits and pieces from that session too that I can certainly expound upon as well. But that piece about the higher self and kind of integrating that oversoul was beautiful confirmation for some of what I'd already been thinking of and what other people have said as well. But I really thought that analogy was beautiful of the diamond and kind of like the individual diamonds that you're fitting back into place.
I love that. I actually have an essential oil blend, number 7, and it's called Soul Retrieval. And it does assist with, if you're doing any kind of processing, whether you're working with a practitioner or you're just doing it with yourself and doing whatever soul healing pathways that you're taking, it's very good, very grounding, very it's wonderful. I have used my oils in I have used my oils in my own spiritual awakening and path and journey of reintegrating myself, and they have been very powerful tools, very high multidimensional tools that help anchor these lost pieces of ourselves. And I'm sure you've had it too. The more we do this work and the more we're continuing to resolve the traumas that may have been with us, turning it into peace, which then integrates more of us back into ourselves, getting more of our own energy, being able to tap into more of our original blueprint, to being able to access more of our destiny and mission without the noise of the Matrix saying, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not deserving. Why do you think you're too big for your boots? Those kinds of things that people would hear. And so you get to that point of integrating yourself. You're like, you just stop listening to all of this noise, because you start to recognize that all of these things are other people's projections, other people's insecurities and darkness that don't want you to elevate. So doing this work is very powerful, that it does make you become very sovereign. And
100%.
knowing, you really know yourself more than anything, and you're not seeking out someone outside of you to tell you about you. You get to experience you in the ether of time. That's what I love. It's so empowering. It's and it's been one of the, I've done a lot of different healing practices and things over the years, and this is the field that gets the most profound changes and shifts. So healing.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. And I think that empowerment piece, I mean, because, there's always times within our lives where we do need to go externally for support or for healing or for help. I mean, we're not meant to, most of us are not meant to be here solo and alone and, without any support. Very few of us are meant to do that. But, the difference between deep soul healing, can be found through hypnosis versus whether it be Reiki or acupuncture or, any other healing modalities.
They all have a place. Yeah, they all.
Oh, absolutely. They do. But, what drew me to hypnosis and what has kept me here and kept me engaged is really the empowerment piece. And that's one of my favorite pieces of this work is how it gives the control and gives the power back to people and sort of provides that container for them to find their own answers, connect with their own energy rather than some external energy or, even I've heard of people doing past life readings and stuff like that. And certainly there's a place for that. And there's people that are meant to pursue that, but that's again going to someone externally to give you your answers rather than connecting in yourself. And I think that one of the most consistent and persistent messages that I get from the higher self is hey, come talk to us more often. Hey, we want to help you. We want to support you. We want to talk with you more. Please make the time to connect with us. And clients hear that all of the time. And I hear that from clients all of the time is one of the most persistent messages. And so I think that that's an important piece to call out too.
You just reminded me of something that my higher said to me. And it was, when I start to feel too tired, my energy's being drained because I've been working too hard or, life's been busy. It's normally because I'm working too hard. I'm a one lady band and I've got a lot of plates spinning and production and editing and design and I love it all. But they said, connect back in. My higher self was connect back in and you'll get a recharge. You'll be able to recharge. And that's that. You're connecting back into your highest, purest self, your essence, that source self, that fractal, we're more of a fractal of that piece, rainbow, the rainbow light, being caught in the sun.
Yeah. No, that reminds me though, I not to drag this on too long, but the fractal piece was one of the questions that I followed up asking the higher self of my client when we were discussing this fractal piece, and they were discussing our higher self that's essentially outside of the matrix, and our higher self that is the player playing the game. They're the ones that knows what's going on, and they're controlling all the pieces, and they're very much removed. And my question was, okay, is that a different higher self than we connect in with during hypnosis or meditation? And they confirmed, yes, that it's essentially that. I don't know. They didn't use the words highest self, but that was kind of the vision that I was getting was the fractal at the top. Way up there. And it was wild too, because my client's higher self was basically explaining to us and helping us to understand how to connect in with that part of us that's running the show, rather than any of the lower versions. And I say lower, I don't mean lower in rank or anything like that. It's more of that frequency or that vibration. But but what they said was, and it made me chuckle. They said, I'm not supposed to be sharing this with you guys. You're not supposed to know about this, but I'm gonna share it. I think it needs to be known. And it was just such a funny, like cheeky moment of like, you're not really supposed to know this information, but I want to share it with you. So like, let's do it. And then we had a conversation around like the laws and the rules of things. And I was like, who doesn't want us to know that? Or like, how does that work? Like, do we make those rules? Like, what's going on? And so it was a fascinating conversation. And, but I thought that was an interesting piece because I know from studying Dolores's work that she has kind of her vision of the higher self and how it kind of works and how there's kind of those different layers that you can tap into all the way up to source. And I think it's a little more nuanced than any one person's view or one person's perspective of it. I think we all have a piece of the puzzle, right? But I think the more that we can think about those different ways and kind of like try to wrap our heads around it, I think it just helps us to grow and to expand and gives us different ways and different tools to connect in with the universe, with the cosmos.
Yeah, it does raise your consciousness because it starts when, if we're already open to it because we've had our experiences and we practice it. But it can be a lot for people to get their head around, be like, what? You can talk to we're more than just this. But I think it's such a wonderful vehicle to be able to open and expand your consciousness to there's more than just this. And when you have that, then the fear of dying kind of goes, because you're like, well, I'm going to reincarnate again. But if I live my life like this is my last life, what would I do? And what would I put up with? And what would I not? And what do I want to follow and have the best possible time? So even the things that people fear, you can always flip it so it's actually of benefit to you. Like, okay, if this is your one life, how are you going to spend it? Like, spend it like you've gone on holiday. It's like I could imagine us, we have our life, we pass, we have the 40 days of I suppose spiritual admin time after we do pass, so that kind of crossover period, and we reflect on our life and what we've done and how we've affected other people's lives and how other people have affected us, and it's this real reflection period, which I think is marvelous. But if people could start to have that now, and then you can reflect, okay, how is my behavior how is it affecting other people? Could I take a breath and a pause and take a beat and not just kind of splurge my anger or frustration out on the world? What if I was to just process it myself with the right tools or the right guides along the way, so I can manage my nervous system, I can regulate myself, and you stop kind of continually perpetualizing these drama loops, because you're like, I know what this is from a higher level. It's part of the experience that I need to master myself, master my soul, master my life. And how do I do that? Is master your emotions first and foremost and make better decisions about life. And when you make a wrong turn or a poor choice, it's having the heart to reflect and be like, yeah, it wasn't the best choice I could have made, but it was the best choice I made in the moment. And how can I be better now and moving forwards? And that's important, not to get stuck in grief or sorrow or loss or guilt, any of that. Like, that's what keeps people stuck. Even holding a grudge, you hear about people in the family holding grudges for decades, lifetime, but where does that end you? You'll end up being the next lifetime, you'll be in the same situation, because it's about resolving and balance. It's not about holding grudges. Grudges keep you stuck. Guilt keeps you stuck until your vibration is such a low point, you're going to get sick. So these are the critical things that, if we start to look at life in a different way and be more reflective about our actions and our inactions, that we can have a better life before we pass. We can make better choices now. And do a lot of do a lot of lifetimes worth of work in one lifetime and resolve. So you're not having to live in your own personal hell lifetime after lifetime. That's
Right.
that's very dear to my heart because I hate to see people suffer. I've been through it.
Oh
You don't
yeah.
need to go through it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you'll find
Yeah.
wonderful guides along the way that will be able to help you until you're at a point where you can help yourself by making that choice.
100%. 100%. And while you were talking, that reminded me of, I don't know if you've experienced this as well, but I've had quite a lot of clients who have regressed not to past lives, but to the current lifetime and their childhood or their young adulthood. And it's, I know it's not like totally out of the normal, and it's totally normal to have that come up, but I've seen more and more of that, and I really think that that combined with the galactic side of things coming in and more tapping into these lives that are beyond just the earthbound lives, I feel like it really is about this period we're in and these lifetimes we're in where we are being called to integrate more and to deal with more and to process more so that we're ready for the next lifetime, which is going to be a big shift. And I think, of course, when we're looking at it from the quantum perspective, it's all happening at the same time, but understanding it from that resonance, from that frequency perspective, you want to align your frequency with that future timeline that you want, with that lifetime that you want. And like you were saying, so often and I hear this with clients or potential clients too, where they're stuck in those loops. They're like, oh my God, these people, I just keep attracting the same guy and he's just horrible. And, it's abusive guy after abusive guy after abusive guy. And it's like, well, what's going on there? And,
What's
I
the
think
lesson?
listen to the message. And, that's where so much of this work, I think, can be so cerebral or it can be very like out there. It can be very woo. But for people who are maybe overwhelmed by like thinking about your higher self as a fractal, like start with just looking at your life. Start with just looking at those just day to day, like how are you moving through the world? How are you interacting with other people? What people are you interacting with and what's their energy? And the more that you can start to recognize that, you can start to see those opportunities or those lessons popping up over and over again. And like you said, it's like, do you want to deal with that now or do you want to deal with that next lifetime? Because, we think about, all of the challenges and the difficulties of life. It's like, no, I want to deal with it now. I want to get on to the next one or the next level, because of course it's not about like solving all your problems so that then you can like, just move on to whatever. I mean, there's always more layers to uncover and there's more, deeper things to get to. But I just think that, yeah, this moment we're in, this lifetime we're in, I mean, there's a reason that hypnosis is coming into more and more people's awareness. I mean, I just think there's and beyond that, I mean, the channeling that's happening and the light language, the connection to ETs and to our galactic family. I mean, there's just so many different ways that we're being shown that things are expanding and that the world is shifting and changing. And I think that, the best thing we can do for ourselves is to then, okay, what work do I need to do? What are my hangups or what's going on? And I mean, shoot, this morning, right before we hopped on this interview, I was struggling with my own emotions and struggling with my own, balance of like being too hard on myself and talking down to myself, but also like taking charge and responsibility for my life. I mean, these are things that even healers like me can go through, right? I mean, we're all humans. We're all going through our own experiences and our own lessons. And I think that awareness piece is so key. And that's, I think, the easiest place to start is just being aware of what's going on, not judging, not trying to change, just being aware.
Yeah, and holding space for yourself. I know over time for me, I am more equipped with the right tools and mindset to acknowledge a situation of challenges within myself or situations or relationships around me and be able to catch things and be able to recover more quickly. So it's not that the challenges go away, but it becomes much easier and faster to, I suppose, balm and kind of reset yourself from when things do come up. Because the thing, if you were to think about an example, so anyone with mental health challenges, something bad will happen and they will loop. It could be a day, a week, a month. It could go on and on and on. And it's that point you're like, okay, there's a pattern here. Nothing is changing. It's literally just on a loop. And that's how people live in their own personal hell, because all they're doing is focusing on the negative of blaming someone else for their own challenges and their own issues in their life, rather than seeing the co-creation in it and what the lessons are and what the higher perspective of the situation was in the first place. Doing things like FLP, QHHT, any other journaling, there's so many different practices will help you be able to come above the problem and see it from a higher perspective, and then go, yeah, okay, I did, that wasn't great when that happened, but what can I learn from it? I'm not going to put up with that anymore. I have respect for myself. I want better for myself. And, when you hold love for yourself and you hold yourself in the highest regard, life really does change and shift and moves into the best possible way, and then life does start to become more fun and more peaceful. And then you do start living life from a higher frequency, 5D and above. Ideally, you want to go, the higher, the better. Stay grounded. It is about anchoring your highest self, your pure essence into where you are right now, without holding on to negatives or even conspiracies. People get trapped in conspiracies. I was thinking about this earlier today, actually. It's quite often, I had the same thing too. Waking up, learning more about the world and realizing, whoa, it's not what I thought it was. It's not what it had been telling me that it is as it is. Things are coming out now, and I do feel there is a time and a place for people to kind of find that information. People can get stuck there. That's 4D. That's all mental. Like, you'll get trapped in the mind of going down rabbit holes where actually it's nothing to do with you. There may be past fragments of lifetimes where you were in a similar situation, and that is why you feel or even experiences in this lifetime with abuse. People can get on those bandwagons, but I see a lot of trauma loops with those that get stuck in this conspiracy realm, and it's not healthy and it doesn't help anyone. And you could be using all of that wonderful soul energy of yours to be going inwards, healing yourself from the inside out, and then start creating a world and a reality that reflects what you individually want to see and experience. You want more love and peace and bliss and joy? Start living it for yourself.
Absolutely.
That's what seeds the planet. That's what raises the frequency of the planet. And then you won't get trapped in 4D. You'll be in 5D and beyond, and anchoring it and having a great time on Earth and enjoying your cake. Having your cake and eating it too. And it is that.
Truly. I love the way that you put that, because it's definitely not about burying your head in the sand and pretending that nothing's happening, but I really frame it. I mean, the phrase that loops in my head like 1,000 times a week is, where your focus goes, your energy flows. And this idea of, okay, like, does knowing all of the intricate details of some, horrible thing that some entity somewhere is doing, is that helping you? Is that actually like changing anything? And I think it's more about, like you said, focusing on your personal life, your inner world, your immediate sphere, and how are you spreading love? How are you building people up? How are you, creating that new earth that you want to live in, and putting your focus and your energy there so that you're not building the negative. Because if your focus is only going to that, and you're always in that world and you're in that sphere and you're just constantly falling down those rabbit holes, then you're giving that your energy, and you're letting that suck off of you, and it's only creating more of that. And so I think there's definitely people out there who are here on this earth, and their mission is to like cast the shadows out, or like shine light on the shadows. Like, props to you, and I wish you well on your missions and your journey. But I think the more of us that can build the new and focus on the positive, like especially if you feel that resonance with the light, if you feel you know, your emotions and the way your body feels when you take in information is a good indicator of like whether that is building you up or tearing you down. And if you're coming out of a show or a podcast or an article or a book or something that puts you in a dark place where you're feeling low, you're not feeling good, you're not feeling like, it's not good for you, it's not meant for you. And if you can go there and you can stay in your love and your light, well, then maybe that is your mission, and I wish you well on that. But yeah, I think that there's really a lot to be said about where we focus, what our intentions are, and really being, again, like attuned to yourself, to your own energy, and what is building you up and what is not, and really focusing on building up that positivity, building up that new earth, because I think most of us want to be there. Most of us want to live there.
Yeah, but it does start within, and it's the small things. We can make small adjustments, incremental small adjustments every single day, and your personal reality can shift in even just a moment of choice. And you say to yourself, I deserve better. I really deserve better. I want to live a happy, healthy, fulfilling life. And I'm on purpose. And I'm accepted for who I am. And that does come with honesty, but then the fear of, oh God, everything's got to change. Yes, but it will be so much better when it does. And know that you are supported. And when you need help from the heavens, ask for it. Ask for love, ask for guidance, ask for support to give you a clear path, show you a sign. It sounds cliche, but it's not. And getting people to ask for help and to want to help themselves, like your reality will take a 180. It really can, which is exciting. And then New Earth is building. I love it.
I know. And that's the thing is, I think one of the coolest things that I realized through my own experience with hypnosis and having a session connecting with my higher self, but then also with clients too, is seeing the shift afterwards, and seeing the like heightened connection and the ease that you can get that information and get those answers that you're looking for. Because so often I hear from clients, oh, well, that wasn't, or my higher self didn't come through in the way that I expected, but like I knew it was them. Oh, like I kind of expected it to be this way, but then it was really familiar, and it sounded like my own voice, but like they weren't my words. It was strange. And so this idea of like, I mean, you said helping yourself, and like, yes, helping ourselves in a physical way too, because we have to take those actions to anchor it into the physical, right? But it's also recognizing that, hey, your higher self is a part of you. They want to support you and help you in this. And you don't necessarily need to start with a hypnosis session if you're not feeling called, or if you're not sure yet. Like, just start with a little meditation and that intention, and you'll be surprised with how easy it is to connect with them. Because again, they're not some entity way out there. They're here with you, and they want to support, they want to connect. And I think that the more that we can ask for that support too, because it's not just a given. We have free will. We have the ability to do it our own way and on our own if we want to. Sometimes that leads to a little bit of pushback from our higher selves, but ultimately, we're sovereign beings, albeit fractals of our higher selves. And so I think that piece of asking for help and remembering to ask for it too is really key. And think is a shift for a lot of us, because I know for myself, like the mentality of like asking for help and the idea of like being reliant on anyone else is I mean, at least here in the United States, like it's very not the MO. Like it's very much you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to do the thing, like be independent, be strong. And there's value in that, and there is purpose in that as well. But we aren't meant to do it alone. And I think that the more that we can acknowledge that and accept that help, it's just going to make our lives better and make things smoother. Because so often, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this with clients too. If you're fighting your higher self on something, like that's usually causing more problems. That's usually causing more friction because you're not in flow. You're not doing what you came here to do, or you're not. You're trying to fight what you and your soul agreed. Like, hey, we're going to do this time, and there's no reason for that conflict, because we're all in this together, and we're all trying to move our way towards that brighter future. But yeah.
And it does that. I'll add to that is when there's conflict with your higher self, it's you have a fear, but an opportunity arises. Say public speaking or getting yourself online. You're a healer. You've got an incredible story, journey. You have talent, but there's a part of you that is like so afraid of being seen. And so there will be things in your life that pop up if you're like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Then there'll be other things that you'll end up getting pushed, and you'll end up taking a longer, harder road just to get to the same destination, rather than just being like, okay, I know what I want to do. It's my dream. I'm feeling fear right now, but you know what? I'm going to go for it anyways. And just try and just do your best. And that's it. And I think so many people, like, if it's not perfect, I don't want to do it. And that is such a false programming that's been implanted into everyone. That's people are afraid of judgment. They're also deeply competitive and jealous, and they're fearful. And it's a real mix of just absolutely extinguishing your soul's mission. And it just, so along the way, it's like, if you were just to push yourself, just nudge forward, just even if you feel anxious, just take a step forward regardless. As long as it's not hurting yourself now or in the future, it's a good yardstick to go by. Like, will this benefit me now and in the future? And if it's no, then maybe that wouldn't be the best possible path for me. But that's been my personal experience of, the direction you want to go in, even if you feel the fear, just move forwards anyways. And doors will open, opportunities will arrive. You have beautiful networking opportunities like this, like us meeting as well, Jake. I feel like I've known you forever. So
right. I know. Yeah. I know. I love it.
And it's very easy to talk with you as well. And again, this is soul family. You're on the right path because doors open and you connect to people. You're like, I feel like I know you. It's like, yeah, because we're on the same path. We're on the same team. There's no competition. Like, everyone just works at their pace, doing what they're doing. That's perfect for them. And there is no comparison. Just get on with it and have fun and do your best, and don't look at anyone else. Yeah.
100%. As you were saying all of that, I just kept getting waves of like chills, down my body, the spirit chills. And so, yeah, the soul family piece. And I think that's been the one of the biggest shifts in my fear journey. And like, because as you can probably imagine, I've had my own fear of visibility. And I mean, that was first showing up in my sexuality and like my being, and how I felt like I couldn't be authentic or couldn't show myself fully or truly. And then I got like kind of a second go at that with the spirituality piece and the hypnosis, and still kind of working through that, if I'll be honest. But
I feel similar as well. There's points I'm like, no, just trust.
Just trust. But
reach the right people.
Exactly. Well, and that soul family piece, like the people that I have encountered as I've put myself out there, and I've gone on the internet, or I've gone out in person and talked with people, like the connections that I make, the people that I connect with,
Mm.
there there are no accidents, and I've seen that like just over and over again in my work, that there are no accidents in the people you meet, the situations you have, the experiences you have. And that doesn't mean it's all determined or like laid out ahead of you. It's more so that it's that frequency match. And I we keep coming back to that, but I really do believe that that's how we move through things, because we are all energy. Um, we are all vibrating at a certain frequency that allows us to be here and to be talking and sitting in the chair and being in this world. And so I think that the more we can really be uh, cognizant of that and working with that and remembering that in those moments of fear and in those moments of trepidation, is like, no, it's going to be okay, because you've known these people in other lifetimes, or that person who you are fearful is going to say you're crazy, or try to argue with you about something. Like they're here on their mission, and you agreed to this. And so it's like, when you can reframe that, and you can shift your perspective, it really does. It doesn't eliminate the fear, because again, the fear is oftentimes from lifetimes, and part of what you're doing when that fear comes up is you're working through that. And sometimes we can do that work in a session, or in meditation, or in breath work, or in more of the energetic side of things. But oftentimes it's through the physical side of things where we actually transmute it. And so you might have had, a session where that fear piece came up, and now you've acknowledged it, you've seen it, you understand it. Well, then the universe is going to come around and say, okay, well, here you go. Here's a situation that would normally give you fear. What are you going to do? And
Mm.
then you have that choice to either fall back into that old pattern, or to continue to commit to that new pattern that you're forming, because again, it's such a multi-layered experience when you're working on the energetic level, and you're working in the spirit realm in the ways that we do. And so there is that integration piece. And yeah, I just think that shift in perspective, like it changes your world. It changes your world. And you still have challenges, you still have moments where you have to remind yourself or keep on that. But yeah, it's beautiful point.
Yeah. I had when you were speaking, and I had a remembrance of some really, really sage advice from my essence, my pure essence. And it was, just do your best and don't care what anyone thinks or says about you. That's it. Like,
Hmm.
just do your best. And then, just get on with it. It's okay. People are either going to love you, be neutral towards you, or hate you. And I think that's a psychological thing as well. It's kind of like thirds, a third of people will be on the fence about you, but we're not here to be liked by everyone. We certainly don't like everyone, so how can we expect everyone to like us? That's another one. Reframe it. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
And then you can find more peace about not having fear of judgment of others, because it ultimately doesn't really matter. Everyone's on their own path. They're doing their thing. They're in their unique experience and perception of reality, whether it's just distorted or not, whether you're an angel or the devil in someone else's eyes. It's kind of here. It's neither here nor there, because everyone has their part to play. And just because you were a certain way before doesn't mean you're a certain way now. And it certainly doesn't mean you'll be a certain way in the future. And there's opportunities for just transmutation at any point in time. And when you stop fearing and being attached to a fear of an outcome, you'll stop it from manifesting, actually, because what you focus on grows. So if you're
Hmm.
constantly fearful of something terrible happening, and especially if you do that at a group scale, you're it's such a powerful focus, a continuous looping of energy. It is an energy harvest. So that's kind of like group fear versus individual fear, but we all kind of have similar things. But
Hmm.
I think this is certainly a point that keeps popping up, but it feels very critical right now for people to hear, is Focus on what you do want. If you want peace on earth, make peace within, and it will reflect outside of you. And don't listen to other things or people that cause fear or division. Don't absorb it. You can observe it, but you don't need to absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say those are my last words for this podcast.
Yeah. No,
Jake,
and
yeah.
I was just gonna say kind of final words on that piece. Like, I think it's really, how do I want to say this? When we think about working on a subconscious level and more of the hypnotherapy side of things or the clinical side of things, I think really puts this well in the ways that it works, in that when you're trying to reprogram thoughts or patterns, you're not saying I don't want to smoke. You're saying I am filled with peace and calm, and I'm not thinking of the exact wording here, but you get my gist. Like, you want to focus on the positive spin more of what you do want rather than what you don't want, because at that subconscious level, it's really tuning into the frequency and the energy. And when you say, I don't want to smoke, all it hears is smoke. And so it's just going to double down on that. And so I think that is indicative of the greater scale of things too, in the ways that we interact with the collective and the broader world too, of like, focus on, like you said, what you want to build, and the positivity, and more of what you're aiming towards, not what you're aiming against. And it's the same thing when you're trying to like manifest, right? You don't want to say, I'm trying to move away from this place, or I hate my house. You're saying, I'm drawing in the perfect dream home that's beautiful and calm and lovely. You're focusing on the positive. And I think that shift, again, like, these are oftentimes subtle shifts in your perception, but your perception is your reality. Your perception is how your reality forms around you. And so if you shift the internal, then it will shift the external. And it might take a moment. You might get some of those reminders from the universe. But I think final words would be like, you are a powerful co-creator of the world, of the universe, of the cosmos. And like, you're not... you are exactly where you need to be, and you're doing exactly what you need to do. And if you're not happy with what you're doing or where you're at, well, then that's a call to shift things and to move on to that next level. And hypnosis can help you do that, but you can also do that on your own too, whether it be through mindfulness or meditation or breath work. Like, there's so many different ways that you can help yourself, but the big thing is helping yourself and valuing yourself and loving yourself enough to do that work.
Well said, Jake. Well said. I love it. So how can people contact you, and do you have any services or special offers that you'd like to share?
Yes. Well, my website, rayoflighthypnosis.com, is the best place to go. I've got my bookings on there. There is a contact form on there if you want to just reach out. Otherwise, I have bookings that you can just book yourself online. It's actually pretty slick and smooth. So I encourage you to go there, check out my website. I have all of my information about my practice as well. I do offer future life progression sessions. I offer QHHT in person only, because that's what QHHT is all about. But I offer my own kind of style of higher guidance hypnosis, which really focuses on that higher guidance connection, that higher self connection, and exploring in similar ways as the QHHT experience is, with a few additions from my other modalities. So all in all, encourage you to go to my website to reach out to me. My YouTube as well is Jake Ray Hypnosis. You can search for Jake Ray Hypnosis and I'll pop up. But it's also linked on my website too. So website is the kind of all-encompassing place to reach me. And I'm so excited to share all of this information with y'all. I mean, I love hypnosis. I love this work. I love the cosmos and the galactic side of things. And so being able to talk in any capacity with others about this is always fun. So if any of this resonated, check out my website and reach out to me.
Excellent. And I will also be coming on your podcast in the
Oh
next
yeah.
couple of weeks as well. So Jake's also
Hmm.
got a fantastic podcast that you mostly do it live, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mostly lives. I was doing pre-records, but the lives, I really like the energy. I like being able to interact with people. And so, yeah, I'm so excited to have you on my channel and
Yeah.
to be in conversation with you again because this has been
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the our conversation part two. I'd certainly feel like there'll be uh more stories to reveal, and yeah, it's really exciting. I love it. We have a really good conversation too, so
Hmm.
that's fab. And from my point of view, come to 108healingsenses.com, and I've got my services and offers there, including the podcast link, which you should definitely be subscribing to. Like, tag, share, get these solutions out to friends, family, people that, even for yourself or those that you know that feel like they might need a little light right now, a ray of light, to just to start to open their perception of reality and help them get through things too. So you can find me there, and you can work one-to-one with me. We do soul healing coaching and future life regression, past life regression. And if you're interested in, you're running your own business and you need or would like some technical advice, technical support or guidance about what to do if you're starting your own business and you're not entirely sure what's the next step or automation and things like that, I run a weekly membership on Wednesdays. So that's exciting. That's at kofi.com/108 healing senses. So that's all for me. And I want to say, just thank you so much, Jake. It's been such a pleasure. And I look forward to speaking with you in a couple of 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, soon enough. Thank you
Perfect.
so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you so much. All right. Thanks, everyone. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.